The sun is not yet up. 20,000 Egyptians already moving, sledges grinding, overseers shouting, ropes straining under blocks heavier than a truck. Khufu is building his pyramid, and you are one of them. Bread ration before dawn, your chisel, 2.5 tons of stone. Move it before the overseer returns. This is life on the Great Pyramid construction site. The year is around 2560 BC. The site at Giza covers the equivalent of 10 city blocks. It is the largest construction project in human history, and it has been running every single day for years, with no end yet in sight. The structure rising from the desert floor will eventually stand 146 meters tall, contain 2.5 million stone blocks, and remain the tallest structure on Earth for the next 3,800 years. Right now, it is a controlled chaos of ramps, sledges, ropes, water, and human bodies. And you are somewhere in the middle of it. Let us walk through what one day here actually looked like. You wake before sunrise in the workers' village behind the plateau. This is not a rough camp of tents and open fires. Archaeologists excavating the site in the 1990s found the remains of a purpose-built settlement. Stone barracks, industrial bakeries, breweries, a medical facility, and administrative offices. The state has invested heavily in this workforce, not out of generosity, but out of calculation. A sick worker moves fewer blocks. A hungry worker makes mistakes. A worker who cannot function in the heat is a liability on a ramp carrying 300-kilogram stones. The infrastructure around you exists because keeping you operational is cheaper than replacing you. Your sleeping quarters hold around 50 men. You have a woven mat on a raised platform. You sleep in the same clothes you work in. You are aware, before you are fully conscious, of the smell of 50 men after a day of hard labor in desert heat. You stopped noticing it weeks ago. It is simply the air now. The horn sounds before the sun appears. You have approximately the time it takes to walk to the food station, collect your ration, eat it standing up, and reach your work position before the overseer begins marking absences. The administrative records we have found from sites like this one show that absences were tracked with bureaucratic precision. Excuses noted in the papyri include brewing beer, illness, and being stung by a scorpion. These records tell you something important about this place. The workforce was not driven by fear alone. It was managed, organized, watched. Every man accounted for, every block recorded, every shortfall noted, and carried forward to the next day. Your morning ration is bread and beer. The bread is dense and coarse, heavy with grit from the grinding stones. If you have been here long enough, your teeth are already showing the wear. Egyptologists examining mummies from this period find teeth ground toward the pulp, not from age, but from a lifetime of eating bread that was essentially laced with fine abrasive material. The beer is thick and nutritious, closer to liquid grain than to anything a modern person would recognize. It is not a luxury, it is calories. The state has calculated how many calories a man needs to move stone in desert heat and has provided that number. Exactly that number. You eat quickly and join your gang. 6 in the morning, the work crews assemble. You are part of a team of around 10 men. Each crew has a name. Inscriptions found inside the pyramid include Friends of Khufu, Drunkards of Men-Kor, and the Followers of the Perfect White Crown. These names were chosen by the workers themselves, scratched into stone during rest breaks with copper chisels. This detail matters more than it might seem. You are not here as a slave. You are a conscripted laborer, which in ancient Egypt means something specific. You have rights, you receive wages in the form of rations, you will receive medical care if injured, and when your rotation ends, you will return home. The pyramid was not built by enslaved people. It was built by Egyptians doing compulsory state labor, organized with the same administrative thoroughness that the Egyptians applied to everything. This does not make the work easy. The ramp is waiting. The pyramid at this stage of construction rises perhaps 30 meters. The blocks being placed now weigh between 2 and 4 tons each, cut from limestone quarries on the plateau itself, or transported by boat from quarries across the river. Your job this morning is to move a block from the staging area at the base of the ramp to the current construction level. The method is sledge and rope. The stone sits on a wooden sledge, and someone ahead of you is pouring water onto the sand in front of the runners. This is not ritual, it is engineering. Wet sand has roughly half the friction of dry sand. The physics works. But the block moves only because 40 men are pulling on ropes simultaneously. Because overseers are watching the rope angles and shouting corrections. Because someone has designed this ramp to a grade that allows loaded sledges to ascend without the system collapsing under its own weight. The sophistication is real. So is the physical demand. You pull. Your hands are wrapped in linen because bare rope would open the skin within minutes. Your feet are braced against the sand. The man ahead of you pulls. The man behind you pulls. The overseer shouts a rhythm, a coordinated call that synchronizes 40 bodies into something approaching a single machine. The block moves, centimeter by centimeter, then meter by meter, it rises up the slope. This is your morning. 40 men and a stone. Then back down. Then up again with another stone. The target for a crew. Your size on a slope this grade is somewhere between 12 and 18 blocks per shift. The overseers know the numbers. They have been doing this long enough to know what is physically possible. They are not asking for miracles. They are asking for the maximum sustainable output of 40 human bodies over the course of a working day. By mid-morning, the sun is fully up, and the plateau offers no shade. The temperature is climbing toward 35 degrees. You are sweating through the linen on your hands. The water carriers come through regularly. The administrative records confirm that water distribution was organized and tracked. But by the time the carrier reaches your position on the ramp, you are already running a thirst that sustained physical effort in dry heat, generates faster than most people who have not experienced it can imagine. You do not stop. The rhythm does not stop. Midday. The work pauses for the hottest part of the day. Management, not generosity. Workers who collapse from heat cannot function the following morning. The break is calculated into the daily output. You find shade under the edge of a ramp structure and eat the second ration, more bread. Today there is dried fish. You eat without tasting it because you are too tired to taste anything. Around you the site does not fully quiet. Stonecutters continue in the quarry behind the plateau where the temperature is lower. Scribes continue their records in the administrative offices. Physicians make their rounds through the barracks. We know the physicians were present because their notes survive. Diagnoses, treatments, records of injuries, a man with a crushed hand, a man who fell from a ramp. The medical knowledge was sophisticated in some respects. Egyptians understood anatomy, performed surgery, used compounds that we now know had genuine pharmacological effects. For certain injuries, there was nothing that could be done. The records note these without elaboration. It was the largest and most ambitious construction site in human history, running continuously for decades, with workers operating at height, using rope and timber and stone. The afternoon shift begins. Your muscles have not recovered from the morning. The fatigue that builds over a full day here is not the tiredness of a hard workout. It is sustained mechanical labor and heat that makes every movement cost more than it should. Your body is running a deficit. The rations keep you functional. They do not keep you recovered. After months of this, most men carry a tiredness in the bone that they operate through because there is no alternative. You pull. The block moves. You walk back down. You pull again. At some point in the afternoon, you pass a stone with your gang's name scratched into it. Someone did it during a rest break. A few quick marks that will outlast everything else about this moment by 4,000 years. The tourists who stand in front of it will be told it is a worker's mark, a quality control notation, an administrative reference. All of those things are true. It is also a man who scratched his name into a rock because he was here, because he moved this stone, because this structure rising from the desert was his work and he wanted that to be known. You understand the impulse completely. 6 in the evening. The light goes golden and the horn sounds. Overseers make their final counts. Blocks moved, workers present, injuries recorded. Numbers go to the scribes. Scribes write them on papyrus. Somewhere in the world right now, there are fragments of exactly these records, sitting in museums behind glass, noting the output of your day in ink that has lasted longer than most civilizations. You walk back to the barracks, hands raw, shoulders aching, feet having covered several kilometers on sand and stone. You eat the evening ration outside with your gang while the western sky above the Nile goes from gold to red to the dark blue that comes very fast in Egypt after sunset. The man beside you has been here 18 months. He has seen gangs arrive and complete their rotation and go home, and others who did not make it back. He does not talk about those, neither do you. Some things are better left at the edge of the day. Tomorrow the ramp will be longer. the blocks will be heavier, the sun will be the same sun. But understand this about the site before you sleep. The pyramid rising above you is not, to the people building it, simply an enormous engineering project. It is a religious act. Khufu is a god on earth, the son of Ra. And when he passes from this world, he will need a gateway to the next one. The structure is aligned to true north with a precision that staggers modern engineers. Every measurement was made against the stars. Every stone is in relationship to the cosmos. You are not just a body on a rope. You are participating in something your entire civilization considers sacred. The exhaustion is real, and the rations are measured to the minimum. And the work has changed your body in ways you feel every morning when you stand up. And you are also doing something that matters in ways that go far beyond the movement of any single block. When your rotation ends and you walk back toward your village and your family, you will carry that with you. Somewhere in that structure, in one of the 2.5 million stones, there is a block that you moved. In the 26th century BC, that is not nothing at all. Thanks for watching. If this journey through one day on the Great Pyramid construction site gave you something new to think about, hit the like button and subscribe. We bring history to life as it actually was. The weight, the heat, the names scratched into stone. We will see you in the next one.